Hello guys, my name is Sparkfinger. Welcome to the third video talking about AI dungeon controversy. In order to be better acquainted with the situation, I strongly suggest that you watch the first two videos on the subject matter. In short, AI Dungeon is an online text role-playing game with almost limitless possibilities, in many ways similar to a robotic Dungeons & Dragons game master. The controversy started on the 27th of April 2021, when Latitude, the AI Dungeon developers team, introduced a new community update, as well as new censorship features. In this update, Latitude spoke to the community about how they want to remove any possibility of anything resembling child sexual abuse from the game. So they introduced a new censorship filter, which, sadly, was not functioning correctly and instead broke the game for many users, and falsely reported many user scenarios for, well, really inappropriate NSFW content. I'm saying these words so I don't have to use any direct alternatives like CP or CSA. Well, let's not talk about it. More importantly, Latitude admitted to now reading private user scenarios if they were labeled wrong by the censorship filter. There is much more info in the first two videos, as well as important nuanced details that I have to forego in this video for the sake of brevity. Today is 19th of May 2021. 2 days ago, Latitude introduced the first game update since the scandal. In this update, World Info interface has been restructured to accommodate for easier access. By the way, video on World Info coming soon. A tutorial. At first, Latitude messed up a little bit and accidentally hid all the World Info for user scenarios. You could still find it if you knew where to click. Today, as we can see, this issue was supposedly fixed. Let's enter the game and take a look for ourselves. Here, let's go to My Stuff, check out some scenarios. Yes, let's check this one, it has plenty of world information. Edit adventure. World info, as we can see, all the forgotten world generation options are still here. The world of X-Access, one of the default worlds that I personally like. And a lot of stuff that I personally put in. Here as we can see characters, different characters, some world info, and everything else. It's all now back. Today on the 19th of May. Now to the matter at hand. This occasion, this game update, breaks the 3-week-long pause that Latitude developers took after the new scandalous update. Scandalous no matter how you look at it. People who didn't know what was going on were shocked. People whose games were broken were annoyed, and people who played extreme, not safe for work stuff left the game en masse. The general community was outraged at any notion of censorship or invasion of privacy. Because, I can tell you from my own personal experience, AI Dungeon can be really captivating, really personal experience, much more personal than any conventional computer role-playing game. Some players were reported to be banned for using scenario scripts that helped them avoid the filters. These scripts were capable of changing inputs or outputs of the game, while simultaneously circumventing the banned words, and a lot of words were either outright prohibited from being used by the AI or by the player. Certain words, well, were locked from being used by the AI, and if you were, let's say, speaking to a character in-game about something inappropriate, then they'd use synonyms for this word or the game would stop in its own tracks. If you yourself tried using these words, the game would either stop, so you'd have to roll back a couple of steps, or you'd get the warning that your scenario has been flagged. And that means the moderators would have to go through your scenario, your game, and read it. That's the gist of how the system currently works. I discovered that many words which can be interpreted as innuendos were now being flagged by the filter, and that's not even talking about something like swear words. You know, the F word. It's not just an expressive word, it happens also to, connect to some action in real life. And the AI can't really differentiate between swear words. Well, it can, but the filter can't. Between swear words and actions. The filter can't do it, because filter is a separate feature that, sadly, was implemented quite unprofessionally. If you tried using words like riding, melons, or cocktail, or things of similar nature, then your game would have a quite high chance of getting broken, stopped in its tracks, or much worse, reported. Flagged as really extreme, not safe for work. I'm using this, to avoid, there we can see more memes. And here's the obvious important fact. Just like I predicted in my first couple videos, Latitude is taking the least dangerous approach in an attempt to manage the community. They're ignoring the scandal altogether, and people's reaction. Unless you count Alan Walton's public comments in the first couple days, we talked about them in the second video. That means, at this point, the majority of scandal is over. From my perspective, from my experience, I can see that people are actually growing tired of mobbing Latitude. Now, let me speak from my personal point of view for a while. The Reddit has really turned into a sad place. Latitude's actions inadvertently somehow led to me, my personal life, well, changing for the worse for a couple of days. Really, when I realized the game has been really crippled, when I couldn't play it anymore myself, and I couldn't use swear words, just because a few steps ago a child was mentioned. Or any number, not even related to age, any number below 18 or even 21 in some cases. I have to say that Reddit used to be a great place for finding memes, for finding jokes, for laughing at things. And in the last 3 weeks has turned into a really sort of dark, negative place, you know. Catabolic, cortisol-inducing, depressing space. Which really made me not really like it. I would say that at this point, only roughly 8% of people are trying to look into the future that can be bright. That can be bright if we try hard. And I'd say roughly 43% of people are somewhat neutral, on a neutral stance. They are not really interested in mobbing Latitude anymore. And the rest people are strongly negative. They are living en masse, they are trying to, you know, downvote the rating of the game on all platforms. They're really going through with all the mobbing and bullying thing. And I have to say that as much as I agree with expressing your own personal viewpoint, I believe it should be done in the most civilized manner possible. Because you see, the decision that Latitude made has really been made by a very small group of people. By Nick Walton and his brother Alan Walton, which is, well, simply just 2 people. And from what I can see, they were getting bullied here on Reddit. They had to delete their posts from other Reddit with just funny meme posts. And there in the comment, former AI Dungeon players flooded and, you know, started saying insulting things about how they failed their community and the game. So they had to start deleting their own posts from different Reddits with just memes about coffee and animals. And I really don't agree with this, on my personal point of view. Nick Walton brothers, they're getting accused of forcing their personal religious views on people. And it doesn't matter what religion they are. That doesn't matter because they are not pushing their religious views. It doesn't even matter at this point what the government or the society says. Because in majority of cases, most people will react negatively to the stuff that they are trying to censor. I mean, it's kind of obvious. Even if I personally don't agree with the censorship and the unprofessional implementation of the filter, I have to agree that they are basically doing a rational thing. They're doing something that they had to do. They had no other choice. OpenAI forced them. We don't know how much OpenAI forced them. Whether they ordered them directly or not. But I mean, it's sort of obvious from the phrasing that they used. They asked them, but clearly the rich guys don't just ask. They use their money to order people around. And, well, it's a simple subordinate ladder here. OpenAI is above Latitude, and Latitude has to do what they do because they're using the GPT-3 engine that OpenAI developed. And once again, I have to reiterate, I don't approve of Latitude's unprofessional actions, which are breaking the game with a raw, unfinished filter, stopping the game way too many times, and just not being able to differentiate. I speculate they are not actually using coding, they are instead just trying to tell the AI in a prose format what the AI should or should not generate, or which words should be banned. They were simply unable to handle this PR disaster in a humane manner. They upset their community, and that's something I don't approve of. But I have to say, I really don't approve of mobbing and bullying that crosses the personal border. It's perfectly alright to cancel your subscription and leave if you no longer agree with the development team. And it's quite unclear to which degree, Latitude were forced by OpenAI to go through with installing the broken filter. We don't know who to blame exactly. My conclusion is, that we should not, none of us, none of the community should ever stoop down to personal attacks. I believe each and every one of us is capable of expressing our viewpoint in a civilized manner. I really hope that whatever happens next, we will be able to move on from this and have a positive outlook on our lives, as well as the game itself. We will be able to move on from this, and the developers will be able to fix the filter. At this point, at this very emotional point, I have to say, Sparkfinger out. This concludes this third episode of AI Dungeon News. And now time for the postscriptum. I really want to say thank you guys. Thank you for 120 subscribers. I'm really eager to keep working on more AI Dungeon, content, projects and materials. I have a lot of great ideas, a lot of great gameplay challenges, but most importantly tutorials. A great way to, have many great ways to, use my literary experience to be able to make AI Dungeon gameplay significantly more immersive, change the experience from one level to another. And I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. I have so much more stuff coming. Finally, Sparkfinger out.